MJF haters are wrong about this, and in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what they're wrong about and how AEW is absolutely crushing it with MJF. Yes, I know, I'm praising AEW, and I know that AEW fans hear criticism about their beloved promotion so often. As a guy that's bought tickets to AEW shows, as a guy that is invested in the company emotionally and hoping that they succeed as a wrestling fan, well, AEW, they have started to do something right with MJF. But let's set the stage, because there's been a very interesting development with MJF that I want to talk about before we get into today's video, and I'll tell you why. To me, it sets the scene. If you look at MJF, he was on top of the world heavyweight champion. He did his tag team run with Adam Cole. Adam Cole got injured, shored up AEW's plans, and then MJF got hurt. And then he drops the world title to Samoa Joe in December of 2023. He goes away for the better half of 2024. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknowns about the status of MJF. Would he be gone throughout the year? Would he need surgery? Yada, yada, yada. He returns, right? He comes back initially as a babyface, only to slowly turn back into a heel, and he's doing fantastic work as a heel. Feuded with Daniel Garcia, and obviously finished up his Adam Cole feud. And as of late, he's been feuding with Jeff Jarrett. Now, I really like Jeff Jarrett on a personal level, and I think he is a extremely valuable asset to AEW because he has seen it all in this business. He's been there, done that. He's worked for the biggest promotions in the world. He's been a booker and everything like that. So he brings a lot of value to the product, especially behind the scenes. And what he's doing with MJF is actually pretty brilliant. MJF is still trying to establish himself as the biggest heel in pro wrestling once again. He's a phenomenal heel, but is he the number one heel in the promotion? Is he the number one heel in all of wrestling? That's what he's trying to reestablish, right? He's going to get there, don't get me wrong. But pairing him with a Jeff Jarrett, it does twofolds. You have to keep in mind, number one, Jeff Jarrett, surprisingly, in 2025, is one of the most over acts in all of AEW. He's one of the most over baby faces in AEW. And Booking 101 says if you have an act, whether it's a babyface or a heel, that is over within the fan base, that is over in the eyes of the fan base, you use those people. You use them on television, and you try to get as much out of it, and you try to draw as much money out of it. Number two, Jeff Jarrett is not beating MJF. MJF is going to beat Jeff Jarrett. So, MJF haters, you thinking that MJF feuding with Jeff Jarrett in 2025 is a bad thing? I say no. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's a great idea. Jeff Jarrett is organically over like Rover as a babyface. MJF, he is still trying to get back to the mountaintop. He's trying to get back to the World Heavyweight Championship. Would you rather him feud with someone that he could beat? Right? Would you rather him feud with someone that he could lose to? What would you want him to do? Well, you would want him to win a feud, right? Well, that's the whole point. Jeff Jarrett's over. There's not a lot of over baby faces in AEW. It gives him a little bit of a rub, and it gets him to where he wants to be, because he's mentioned that he wants to be World Heavyweight Champion again. Well, beating Jeff Jarrett gets you one step closer to that. It's also one of their biggest storylines, so whether you like it or you don't, it's getting plenty of television time. And when it does get plenty of television time, ratings do go up, engagement does go up, and buzz does go up, because it's an interesting storyline. So not only does it benefit Jeff, because he's working with a young guy that can, that is helping his babyface run get bigger and better. He's also given a rub to MJF, who's taking all the benefits in which I just established. It's also getting plenty of television time, which the fans are receptive to. So it benefits MJF, it benefits Jeff Jarrett, and it benefits the promotion. What am I missing that is so bad about this feud? Is it because it doesn't fit your mold? Is it because it's not going to be a 5-star classic that Dave Meltzer is going to lose his mind over? Is that what we're discussing here? Because in my book, if it checks those 3 boxes, if it helps everyone involved, heck, you could throw in the fan base as well, because they're talking about it. So if it checks all 4 boxes, It's entertaining to the fans. It helps the promotion draw interest, which desperately needs it right now. It helps MJF and it helps Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's roll with it. Let's keep it going. Like, that's the way that I look at it. So if you go about it like that, then yeah, let's keep this ball rolling. Let's keep this thing rolling. That's the way I would look at it. That's what I would be focusing on if I'm AEW and if I'm Tony Khan. And if you have the minority, the haters, not like it, well, too dang bad, right? Like, we're trying to draw interest. MJF is a guy that I have previously discussed as I think he should be the world champion. The Death Rider storyline, John Moxley, it's not working. Get back to what you know. MJF is the perfect guy to be your champion, and I'll tell you why. You need to rebuild that confidence from the AEW hardcores, the sickos, if you will, in which Tony Khan deems them, where they don't view John Moxley as the guy, and they're not buying into the storyline. Well, newsflash, the casuals aren't either. So if you bring in an MJF, reestablish him. He's been a guy that's been there since 2019. I understand John Moxley has as well, but he's one of the pillars, right? He's a guy that made his name in AEW. He's probably the most over guy in AEW outside of Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, right? And he gives you that aura of like, this is an AEW guy. I mean, heck, he has an AEW tattoo, right? He could have left at his peak. He could have gone to WWE. He opted to sign early with AEW, right? Even though he kept it under guard or whatnot. So that's a guy that you can build your promotion around. That's a guy that you can really get the fan base interested in and believe in. That's the guy you want. So if we're looking at it and going, okay, does MJF feuding with Jeff Jarrett, is it good for everyone involved? Yes. Does it get MJF closer to the World Championship? Yes. Does it continuously build up MJF? Yes. Then let's just do that, right? Like, let's not overthink this. This is not overly complicated. Let's go with what works. And if this is something that works, then newsflash, let's just go with it. That's the way that I look at it. That's the way that I see things. That's how I would go about it. Just me thinking here, right? Like, it's not overly complicated. It's not overly, confusing. It's not necessarily the most controversial hot take in the world. It's pretty straightforward. But I have seen a lot of criticism of people losing their minds because MJF is feuding with a guy that's in his 50s. And it's like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's worked for WWE and WCW. He started doing his promotion. He started 2 promotions at that, right? TNA is still going strong to this day. This guy has consistently reinvented himself decade after decade after decade in multiple roles, both on camera and behind the scenes. So props to Jeff Jarrett and props to MJF for keeping this bad boy going.